This is Back to Back.
Yo, what's up, back-to-backers? This is Willy Joy. Welcome to the show. This is Back to Back. This is my podcast. You are listening to it. I hope you're doing well out there. I'm doing fantastic. Getting over a little cold, feeling better. I think my voice mostly sounds normal now. If I sound like an alien, that's why. But we got to jump into it right away because this is a big episode. My guest on the show today is Getter. Been trying to set this one up for a while. We finally linked up for it. And man, this is one of the best episodes we've had on the show in a while. Getter's got a new album coming out. It's called Visceral. It's out September 28th. And in this episode, there's some juicy details about what he's got in store. We're going to get into all of that in just a minute. I think we're probably going to have some first-time listeners for this episode. If you're just tuning in for the first time, what up? Welcome to the show. We're going to have some fun around here, and if you like what you're hearing, make sure to check out some of the older episodes. I've been doing this for over a year now, and there are some classic episodes in the bank. You know, people like Diplo, 12th Planet, Flostradamus. There's so many good ones. I can't even name them all. But I promise if you dig this, I've probably talked to some other people you're going to like hearing from as well. And as long as you're here, if you're still enjoying it, don't forget to subscribe to this show. Just click the subscribe button on whatever platform you're using to listen. That way, each week, every episode is just going to get hand-delivered straight to your device. You don't even have to worry about missing it. I post it. It pops up for you. We all party. And if you get to the end of this episode, you really liked what you heard, you feel like this is a cool thing that we're doing here at Back to Back, the best way you can support us is just tell a friend. If you have somebody who just loves this kind of music, let them know what we're up to over here. That's the best way you can help. We do not really spend money on advertising here, so the way we grow is from the strength of the community, from you listening right now, and just from word of mouth. And I'm always blown away by how much support you guys give us, so thank you for that. Beyond the show itself, another way we try to give back to you is the Back to Bangers Spotify playlist. That's a playlist that I update every single week. The link is going to be in the description of this episode, and that's going to have all the new music from my guests, from myself, and a lot of the music that we talk about in each of these episodes, because I can't play it for you on this podcast. There's a lot of licensing issues, be really expensive, really time-consuming to clear everything. So this is what we do. We just make the playlist. You can pop it open as you're listening. After you're done, just check it out and be like, oh yeah, that's that thing they were talking about. I like that song. Or, oh yeah, that song sucks. What are they talking about? You know, it's cool. I won't take offense. But yeah, we're having a great time over here, man. I'm happy you're with us. And also, I'm always out here. You can always hit me up. backtobackpod@gmail.com is the email address. Stay in touch at Willy Joy or at backtobackpod on all social media. Hit me up. Let me know where you're at. Let me know what you're up to. And let me know who else you want to hear on the show. All right, I want to tell you about this interview with Getter right now. I went over to his house. I'd actually been there a few times before because he lives with a bunch of other producers, one of whom is my friend Sneak. Sneak was actually just on this podcast a few episodes back. Amazing producer, awesome dude. And so I was back in the house, sitting literally in the exact same place. It was kind of like a weird deja vu. I think I mentioned it in the actual conversation. The last time I was there, their dog Butters tried to eat all of my equipment, all of my cables. And this time, for this interview, Butters basically ended our interview by taking a shit all over the floor towards the end. So you'll hear that in there. Great times. Thanks, Butters, for everything. But man, Getter. I've loved his music for a long time. We've run into each other, crossed paths a few times, but we had never really gotten to just sit down and have a conversation like this. He's always been really fascinating to me because he's kind of got that perfect combination of a high level of talent, high level of skill, but then he's also so naturally charismatic. and he puts his life out there for everybody to see it, which is very much the opposite of what I would instinctually do. And so I love talking to somebody who operates in such a different mode, trying to get inside their brain a little bit. And we did, man. We got into it. Started off at a young age, success at a young age. What is that like? And all the way on through, his career blowing up, taking off, going through issues with depression, and all the while maintaining not only his popping career, but his clothing brand, his artist collective, the various TV and media projects he's a part of. Really fascinating to talk to him about how all of that came together. The new album is called Visceral. It's out September 28th. The single is out right now. It's called Colorblind. And I'm going to put links to all of this where you can find the music, follow him, all of that in the description of this episode. So let's get into it right now. I think you're going to really love this. This is me and Getter back to back. Let's go. But yeah, it's funny, man. This is like, I'm having strong deja vu because literally I was here just a couple weeks ago doing this with Daniel.
That's so funny.
And Butters was eating all the gear. And
yeah.
Yeah.
He ate all the gear. He's just sleeping now.
That's good. I'm glad I showed up.
He's in a coma.
Yeah. But yeah, but it's cool. Like, not even that I know Daniel that well, but, I've gotten to know him more over the last 6 months, and then hanging with him and all of your crew. Like, the deja vu is going crazy now because I know you and Daniel had a similar upbringing in the same place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like you keep a close circle. It seems like
dude, there's so many people that they just want something from you, but I'm like, dude, life sucks. Let's just be miserable together. You know what I mean?
So you got to find those people who are on that wavelength.
It's if you take a chance with someone new and they fuck you over, then you're just sad and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I've had the same friends for ever.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
Well, and it's tough to I think about the idea of just, this sounds stupid, but the idea of making a new friend at this point in my life and my career, that's so much work.
Do you watch Tom Segura?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he does a podcast, but he is a comedian too, and he had this joke where he's like, he hates meeting new people, and he's like, I'll go to a party and people will be like, hey, what's up? I'm Tom. And he's like, nope, I have enough friends to stop talking to me.
Right.
And I feel that.
Yeah, and that's what I like about podcasts too, is it's sort of enforced friendship,
Yeah.
We'll sit here and we'll get to know each other, but there's a point, we're making something, we're creating something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm into that.
It's basically a collab right now.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I feel like you've been pretty good about turning your life and what you do for fun into content, into something usable.
Yeah, for whatever reason, people like to see me do any dumb shit.
Yeah.
So it's just okay.
When did you first realize that? Do you remember? Were you a performer in high school as a kid?
In high school, I just did drugs and played drums and video games and.
Yeah.
But I was the jokester in class, so that probably has something to do with it. But no, as soon as I met Nick Coletti, it was just kind of he would literally wake up and make a video of him eating cheese and it would blow up, and then I'd be like, oh, okay. And then we started doing shit together. So I don't know. I feel like nowadays it's people will just want someone to look at to cope with whatever they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's
it's a weird double-edged sword though, right? Because I think you're totally spot on, but then you get into that issue of if you're looking too much at the other people, you start, if you're a young, impressionable kid, you start wanting to be them, to emulate them.
I don't want to be an influence for anyone under 16.
Right.
Just because it's I don't know. I feel like it can ruin somebody's life, as lame as that sounds. If there's a 10-year-old kid who's looking up to I have a lot of friends that rap and do drugs, and they're not bad people, but from the kid's point of view, they just see this person getting fucked up and doing all this shit. I liked metal bands in high school, and I would always watch videos of them smoking weed, and I met one of the drummers of this band, and he smoked a bunch of weed, so it made me want to start smoking more weed, and I just feel like parents kind of need to cut their kids off a little bit.
It's tough, right? Because parents, I think, don't know how to deal with technology. That's just a generational thing.
It's they don't even know how to hold their phone right.
Right, exactly. And now it's evolving so fast that they're like so many generations behind.
And it's like, since everybody has the technology, and it's like parents figure out that instead of dealing with their kids and actually raising them, and I'm a dick, so I just know everything there is to know about parenting. I'm just kidding. But I feel like parents just kind of take the easy way out, and they're like, wow, my kid's being annoying. Take this iPad.
Right.
Like on all the flights I'm on, I always see kids. Me and my girl over here, Kristen in the back, looking beautiful as heck.
Shout out to Kristen.
Shout out to Kristen. We were in Australia, and there was like this 13-year-old kid on the flight next to us, and he just immediately got an argument with me about PUBG versus Fortnite because I was playing a completely different game on my phone. And it's like, dude, you shouldn't even have this tech yet.
Right.
Like, he's just on his phone like, yeah, dude, check out this cool fucking shit. And it's just like, dude.
I mean, I was talking
grow up first. You know?
It's crazy, man. I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine recently, and he was saying that he just thinks that technology has now reached the point where it's evolving faster than humans can possibly evolve. And so at a certain, and this gets into like people are worried about AI and all that, but at a certain point, it's like, are we actually hurting ourselves by...
Oh, totally, dude. The iPhone ruined like pretty much everything, if you think about it. Can you remember what you did before you had an iPhone?
It's tough, right?
In your spare time?
It's tough.
Yeah. I'm like thinking about it, and the only thing I can remember is like doing drugs and playing video games.
Right.
And when I got a phone, it was still doing drugs, playing video games, but now I had a phone to document everything. And now everybody knows that I did drugs, and played video games. So it's like,
yeah, for me, like I'm a little older, so when I was a kid, there was definitely heavy on video games. There were no smartphones.
Yeah.
And
you just get like the standard games on your fucking LG chocolate. Isn't that right, Daniel? That's right.
Shout out to Sneak.
Shout out Sneak.
In the building. But yeah, man, I mean, growing up, so you were in what, San Jose or right outside of San Jose?
Yeah, I was in Campbell and then San Jose. Pretty much the same fucking...
What's Campbell? Just like a suburb?
Campbell's just like right next to... I'm pretty sure it's in San Jose, but it was like 5 miles from where I lived. But I went to school there. I went to this place, Capri Elementary, and then I went to this place, Rolling Hills. And then I wanted to go... I had like a whole different set of friends. This was before I knew Daniel.
Right.
And it was like, I was friends with all the ska kids, and it was like the group of kids that were like, fuck drugs, let's skank to ska music, right?
Yeah.
And then when I went to high school, I went to Westmont in Campbell, but it turned out that my dad, he was trying to be nice and lie about my zip code so I could go to the school with my friends because I was out of the district, but in the first like 2 weeks, they kicked me out because of that, and I didn't know. So I made a bunch of new friends, and Daniel was my first friend at the new school, Lee, which was closer to my house.
That's cool of your dad to just lie so you can go to the school you want to go to.
At the time, I was like, fuck you. Get to lose all my fucking friends. But now, can I swear? I can swear, right? Okay, cool. Shit, fuck. And like, but after...
It's funny, I just had a guest on, and we sent the like audio to their PR people because they wanted it for some reason. And the only note they gave us was like, he really said cunt too many times. Can you just cut out all the cunts?
Just like bleep them.
Yeah.
Bleeping shit is so funny, dude.
It's bizarre.
I feel like it makes shit funnier.
Oh, it totally does.
When I would make comedy videos with Nick and Daniel, like we would add bleeps, and we didn't even need to. It was just funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about the idea of like a censored rap song in 2018, it's like a silent song.
It sounds like someone with Tourette's. It's like, edit, sit. Gucci.
Yeah, exactly. All you hear are the brand names.
Sipping.
Oh, man. So in the Bay, would you call that Bay Area?
Yeah, I mean, people fucking... It's the same shit where like people in Santa Cruz... Because I went to Santa Cruz a lot, had friends over there.
Yeah.
I actually became friends with Tree like 8 years ago there, Oliver Tree.
Okay.
Shout out. And... But it's like the same shit where like in Santa Cruz, it's a part of the Bay Area, but they're so against people from the Bay Area that they call us valleys. So they're like, fuck you, go home, valley. It's the same kind of shit. So like if people in Vallejo or San Francisco hear you say you're from the Bay and you're from San Jose. It's like, dude, I live 20 miles from you.
Yeah.
We're in the same fucking area.
Yeah, it's the same in Chicago where I kind of came up. Like everybody claimed Chicago, even though most people were from the suburbs, and it's all the same.
It's just like chill. That's probably what I did before iPhones. Actually, just
chilled.
argue with people about where I'm from.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was a good activity.
I mean, were you always musical as a kid?
When I was younger, my uncle plays guitar for like Wayne Newton and Charlie Musselwhite in
sick.
Vegas. Yeah. And he got me a guitar. And then when I met Daniel, I was like already playing metal and he was playing metal. And then I started getting into drums because him and our friend Kevin were way better at guitar than I was.
Right.
So I was just filling in.
Yeah, Daniel was telling me all kinds of crazy stories about the bands you guys were doing where he'd like rig up a Guitar Hero controller.
Yeah, dude. I still have pictures on my phone from my mom used to live in Willow Glen where I just found out Dr. Disrespect is from.
Oh,
and he still lives there. So shout out the doc. But
maybe he knows your mom.
yeah, that'd be tight. But he literally like we lived right where he lived. But I mean, I have a picture from when I lived there. It was at my mom's crib and I was vegan at the time. I was dating this vegan girl.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I went vegan.
You converted.
Yeah, I was 17, went vegan, whatever. And there's a picture of me in my room, me and Daniel, with a Guitar Hero guitar. And we didn't know anything about MIDI, but what we knew was we had drum sounds and something that if you click the buttons, it plays it. So we would take the trigger of the Guitar Hero guitar and do it really fast for a double kick.
Right.
And on the wall behind us was a vegan banner, and it was a cute little baby chick, and it said, "I am not a nugget." And we were doing it on this shitty Lexicon, like fucking $50 interface. It was hilarious.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was super rigged, but it was...
Yeah, so nothing quantized, just like...
Nothing. We didn't even know what quantizing... We didn't even know you could open up a piano roll and just click it in.
Right.
Well, you learn. You learn.
Were you like recording or performing with any of these bands?
No, my dad had a back house. Like he had a pool installed and then like a little guest house in the back. So we would just set everything up and piss off the neighbors and just like cover songs. And funny fucking story, Ghastly?
Yeah.
So his real name's David Crow. And back in the day, me and Daniel's favorite metal band was the Irish Front. Lead singer, David Crow.
Ah, there you go.
And so we learned like a bunch of their shit and would cover it. And then at EDC years ago, I ran into Ghastly and I was like, dude, are you David from the Irish Front? And he's like, are you Getter? How do you know my old fucking band? And so me and him like share that.
That's great because that wasn't even like a huge band.
No,
right?
They were so small. But like if anybody's listening who fucks with Ghastly, look up the Irish Front. Either the Irish Front Chicago Typewriter or the Irish Front The Fish or the Irish Front Fire. Those songs are fucking insane.
Okay. Yeah. If any of that's on Spotify, we'll put that. We do a little playlist of like shit we mention.
Now playing the Irish Front Fire.
That's wild, man. I love those stories about people's past projects that never really took off.
Yeah. It was like me and Daniel just had a bunch of, we called them bands, but we never had a show. It was just kind of like fucking around, but it felt good to say, go to school and be like, yeah, we have band practice, you know?
Right. Were you doing it kind of not to be cool, but like, did you kind of get a sense of like status from that,
Yeah, it was just like like nowadays people worship all these new rappers, which is the same thing we were doing, but we worship these fucking sick ass metal artists who like, I feel like technical death metal is the craziest. Like if you can successfully play through a song with your bandmates, you are a fucking psychopath because it's the craziest shit. The drummer has to be the best, the guitarists have to be the best, and the singers have to ruin their fucking vocal cords.
Yeah, it's so hard to do.
So we were just so obsessed with like the technical shit, and even now still Daniel just like shreds.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because some of that applies to production too, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like I think about like drum and bass guys who are, it's the same thing. It's so technical. It's so hard to do.
Yeah, if you can do what Zomboy does, or you can do what, who's that one?
Like
drum and bass artist? Yeah, Noisia, but like there's this one dude, I forgot his fucking name. It's going to come to me way later.
Yeah.
But like if you can make shit like them or like Culprit, Cone Sound, like shit like that, you can make anything because that's the hardest to make, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And I think it's the same with the technical death metal, where you almost just give them respect because they're making an art form that maybe isn't going to be the most popular thing ever, but they've committed to this like higher art form.
Exactly.
You know?
And they could and a lot of them too, like if you look up jazz drummers, it's a similar thing to metal drummers because they have these crazy solos. But a lot of these like crazy death metal dudes can still play like better blues than you'll ever hear anybody else play. So it's,
right. Yeah, it applies to everything.
yeah, they can just do everything else. They just do the hardest one.
For you in high school, what kind of a kid were you? Like, were you good in school?
No, not at all. I was the kid who was like, I would be super sweet to all my female teachers. And then the guy teachers, it would just be like broing down.
Yeah.
Then there's the occasional asshole who doesn't put up with shit, but I would always kind of slide through stuff.
You'd finesse it a
Yeah,
little.
I remember in high school I had this teacher, Miss Duffy, and she was super nice, and I was like the funny dude and blah blah blah. But she used to think that my dad would like beat me because my dad's really loud. He's super Italian, so he just yells, but he's not like mad.
Right.
So I remember I was with my dad at the grocery store, and we saw her, and he was yelling at me, but like not in a mean way. And so she saw that as him being abusive. And I had an F in her class. And it was senior year. I was going to fail. And like she called me into her class one day. And she was just like, Tanner, I just saw you and your father at the grocery store. And I didn't like the way he was speaking to you. Does he do anything to you at home that that makes you uncomfortable? And of course I wanted to be like, no, my dad's the best. He's super cool. But I was just like... Sometimes. Basically kind of went with the illusion that my dad abuses me.
Right.
And like, it's not cool, obviously, but it was either that or fail high school.
Right. In that moment, that's how you could get a
Exactly.
passing grade.
And if I failed high school, then like maybe it would lead to that, because if my kid failed high school, you bet your ass I'm going to freaking smack him a little bit. But like, yeah. So I kind of went with it. I didn't obviously make any stories up. But I was just like, yeah, he's a dick. So she, being the sweetheart she is, was like, okay, well, now I understand why school is so difficult for you. So let's play a game. Let's play the raise Tanner's grade game. And she let me pass with a C, I think a C minus. And then the senior project we had all year to work on, I just copied off my friend Allison.
Right.
100% plagiarized.
Right.
And she just let me go. She's just like, cool, you're good to go. So shout out Miss Duffy.
That's crazy, man.
It was tight.
I feel like back in the day, it was easier for a kid to plagiarize something than it is now. Like, I feel like now teachers can more or less just put papers through an analysis program.
Yeah, it was turnitin.com, and they put it through, and it says like what sources you copied and shit. But dude, nowadays I feel like school is just like pointless because
for everybody.
Well, no, just for like, I mean, I already think high school's stupid, but you finish it for your parents and then you move on, right? But I feel like when kids are in school now, everybody has an iPhone, so like. You'll find a way to cheat. You know, there was this kid that would hide his right when the Droid came out. He would hide his Droid in a hollowed out book.
Yeah,
he was a fucking genius, and he got A's.
Some spy shit.
It was insane.
Yeah,
like some stash box.
I mean, you're right. This is again what we were saying earlier about parents. It's like the teachers can't keep up with technology either. I remember when I was in like middle school, we still had like a computer lab, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the computer teacher didn't know much about computers because she was just an old lady, and she was basically there to like teach us typing. And we networked all the computers together. We were playing like having LAN parties.
Yeah,
at
dude,
school,
same.
basically.
Somebody put Halo on it.
Yeah.
And then the teacher was blind, so whenever he got close, we would just tab out and work on our document, and then tab back in and play Halo.
I mean, I don't know if I agree that high school is pointless.
For me, it was.
Okay. Yeah,
I think for me it was.
That's fair. Do you feel like you just didn't get anything useful out of it?
I feel like my mind was just so concentrated on other shit that it was just a waste of my time.
Like what? Like, were you already thinking about music?
I would draw during every class, or like I would listen to music or smoke weed before because I was a dumbass and like all this shit. And like looking back, I probably could have done way better and like easily still be doing what I'm doing today, but I just feel like with where I went and what I was doing and going through, it just wasn't the right time for me. I personally think homeschooling is like really dope.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been homeschooled, but then this like the social, you don't get the social.
Right. Yeah. It's pluses and minuses. And I mean, some people's parents are probably terrible teachers, but I do like the idea of like personalizing it more, making it better, just better for the individual kids.
Yeah. I went to a community college in San Jose for a really small amount of time afterwards. And I knew I hated it from my second period was history.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you want to learn? Music? Cool. Here's a history fucking class. It was just a repeat.
It was like just a lot of like core curriculum. Whatever.
Yeah. And at that point I was doing shows and I felt bad because my dad's spending his money on this shit I don't want to do. So I just stopped going and just paid my dad back. I was just like, my bad, fool.
Fair enough. So leaving high school, you were already basically touring around, starting to do shows.
Yeah. I think I started when I was 16. I would do like local gigs. And I worked at Arby's.
Okay.
And the Arby's I worked at was so sketch. They just did so much illegal shit, so they just didn't.
That doesn't.
I'd be like, hey, I know I'm scheduled
Arby's
this weekend, but I'm leaving. And they're like, okay, cool. No worries.
Yeah.
I'll cover your shift.
I mean, I can't really think of like an upstanding Arby's.
Yeah, we would purposely get it wrong. And I'm telling you right now, if you go to a McDonald's or a fast food place later in the day and they tell you the machine's broken for a McFlurry or an ice cream, they're lying to you. Because we had Jamocha shakes. And after 5 p.m., we just said the machine was broken because we didn't want to clean it again because it's a bitch to clean it. Fast food secret.
Facts.
Brought to you by your boy.
How did you get into, I mean, when you're in high school, were you already posting stuff on SoundCloud?
No, it was, we didn't even know what the fuck SoundCloud was. My friend at school, what was his name, Blake, I think, came to school and told us about YouTube when it just came out. And then he was like the tech guy. So he'd come to school and be like, yo guys, check this out. Yeah, new game. Check this shit out. Blah, blah, blah. This is a porn website that nobody can track. Check this out. And he told us about YouTube and then we found out about SoundCloud. And me and Dana were really into metal. And then one of our trippy, heady friends came to school and showed us Bass Nectar and showed us Caspa and Rusko, Fabric Live Mix.
Oh shit.
All this shit. And like immediately we were all like, what, fool?
Because there's so many crossovers. I had a very similar experience, right? Because I was a metalhead growing up and I was in metal bands. And then, a friend of mine took me to a rave. And there's so many, it just triggers the same things in my brain. Like, I don't know, it releases the same chemicals.
It was just like the vibe of it and it was slower, but not too slow. There was room to move, and it's like, and it was so trash too. Because if you look up the shit you listened to back in the day, it was so cool. But now that like you and me and like we know about engineering and how to make shit sound good, you listen to it and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like if they took like old Casper and Rusko, like Mr. Chips, and remastered it today, could you imagine, bro?
I wish they would, man. Because there's so many amazing tunes from that era that it's just hard to play in a set now.
Exactly. And they're still amazing, but you can just tell that they were new to it too. Like Heads Up, Bass Nectar. Remember that shit?
Oh, yeah,
God, the Cali mix or whatever.
Right.
That shit was so good. But you listen to it now and you're like, okay, I have this Vengeance pack. Okay, where's the fucking transients?
That would be smart of like some of those older DJs to do if they just took a week and like remastered all their old shit.
That's what I'm saying.
All the
Put
other
it out
DJs
again.
would start playing it again.
Of course. I got clout for lack of a better term, I got clout in high school because I would remake songs that I couldn't get my hands on. Before I knew anything about like 320, like I would just take shit from YouTube and play it. Like I was a dumbass.
Right.
Like 128 kilobytes and it sounded like shit.
Oh, I did the same thing.
Yeah, you don't know better, right? So
no,
it's like,
not at all.
But like I remember Bass Cannon came out in time for the very first Wobbleland and no, it wasn't even out. Flux was just playing it, and I needed it to play at Wobbleland. It was my first huge show with like Skrillex and Nero.
Yeah.
And so I just made it in Reason. And then it ended up like Flux got a hold of it, Downlink got a hold of it, and all these fools are like, yo, dude, like you remade this perfectly, and I didn't know what I was doing.
That's so crazy, man.
It was dumb. I was on YouTube like how to make Dr. P whistle synth, like shit like that.
And in Reason too, which is not like a friendly interface when
Maelstrom, dude.
Man.
It's the best fucking synth ever.
Are you still in Reason?
Nah, I've been like debating on going back and fucking with it, but like, I really think Steve Duda was telling me he knows the guy who made the synth Maelstrom.
Yeah.
And he ended up, I forgot what company he's with now, Sound Toys or Sonic Charge or something, but he ended up selling Maelstrom and his name's actually Mal.
Oh,
and that's why it's called Maelstrom. But dude, they need to make like an external.
If they would, man.
Oh my God.
That would go crazy.
I will literally, if anybody's listening right now that knows anybody that could help me with that, I will pay to remake Maelstrom. I just want to use it. Give me one copy. The fucking granular synthesis of that is just like...
How did you get into production in the first place? Like, if you're playing in metal bands and then you kind of get turned on to the early dubstep, did you immediately just want to make it?
Yeah, it was like me and Daniel like would like practice metal songs, right? As soon as we heard a song, we would go to Ultimate Guitar and learn the tabs and shit.
Right.
And then it was the same thing. So we learned about this shit and then we'd find out a song and then go on YouTube and say like how to play it. And then from that, it was like, okay, well, you need a computer, you need headphones, audio interface, you need, and then there was obviously a list of DAWs, and Reason looked like the most simple, and it was the cheapest, and so we just go with that. And then from there, it was just tutorials and learning how it worked. I feel like a lot of people don't learn their synths.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
They just go in and do it, and then they don't know. Still don't know how it works.
That's something Hero Bus was saying to me. He was like, most people will go in and they'll learn like 50 to 70% of the capabilities, and that's just where they stay. Yeah. But he's like, if you stay with it, if you learn that extra 10, 20%, exactly, no one can touch you.
Yeah, because you can have like a really like Sylenth, something that costs a couple hundred, or like Omnisphere, or Nexus or some shit, and you could get it and there's some cool presets, or like you can download some preset packs, but at the end of the day it's like that's one sound you have. But like if you just take literally not even an hour, like I'm working on doing an Ableton live set for when I do like a tour for my album coming out.
Oh, dope.
And like I learned it in an hour, and I wasn't even in front of anything. You just like, once you see what this knob does and what this knob does and this does this, because for me and Daniel it was like, okay, how do I make this one continuous sound wobble?
Right.
And then you figure that out, and then you're like, okay, that's what an LFO is. How do I do a change in pitch, like a slide on a guitar or a pinch harmonic, and then figure out, oh, okay, that's the pitch bender thing, and learn what the mod wheel was and all this shit. And then we learned that there's actual synths like that are analog, and it just like, you just learn the small things, and then
piece by piece.
Yeah, like you remember when Serum came out?
Yeah.
Everybody was on Massive. You go to Serum and you know it immediately because you already know Massive.
Right. The transfer was real easy.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we were talking about how like school was hard for you in high school, but then you think about this, something you obviously had to spend a ton of time just sitting and learning.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it sounds like you were able to focus on that really well, right?
Because like, yeah, when I feel like for me and for a lot of people out there, if somebody tells me to learn something, like I don't want to fucking learn it. It's the same concept where like when you're young and you're angsty and you're a teenager and you never think about doing drugs or smoking weed, but as soon as you find out your parents aren't cool with it, you want to do it more.
Right.
Because it's like, wow, this is cool because my parents don't want me to do it. And then but like I had friends growing up where their parents were okay with it. They'll be like, yeah, you can smoke weed and drink only at my house. You can never do it out in public, only when your shit's finished. And they like ended up never doing it that much, like it's not nearly as much as us, because it just like wasn't as cool. But it was like this, it's a similar shit. Like if I want to learn it myself, I can do it. But if somebody tells me, it's like I hate being told what to do.
Yeah. Are you still that way now in your career? Like,
yeah, it's kind of more lenient. Like if my manager's like, hey, there's this thing and you need to know this for it, or like some shit like that. Or like I've looked up shit for like contractual stuff. I think that's a word. Contractual, yeah. But yeah, just shit like that. Or like when I started playing games on a PC, my manager's like, it would help a lot if you looked this shit up. And then I did it, and it actually did help. But like just like stuff like that, and not so much stuff that I'll never use.
Right.
Remember in middle school when you'd get taught cursive? And they're like, you're going to use it in high school. And you never do.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking grade.
Yeah, you just need to know it for like your signature, and that's about it.
And even now my signature's cat scratches.
Oh yeah, everybody's
stupid,
is.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're signing with our finger, so it's just a lost cause.
And your fucking eyeballs now too, and your face. You're just like, cool.
Fingerprint, yeah.
Signed.
Going out of school, you were saying you went to community college, but this was when you already started doing shows.
Yeah.
So you must have been putting out music at that point to be getting booked for shows, right? How did all that get started?
There's this company, they're called Vital now, but they used to go by Vital SC, and they were out of Santa Cruz, yeah. And they used to rep this dude Minnesota, and me and all my friends used to go to to the Vital shows in Santa Cruz because they were the only people bringing out fucking Rusko and like Excision and Borgore and all these guys, and like so we would just go. And then I got in contact with them because I found out I met Minnesota, and shout out Minnesota, Christian.
Yeah, shout out to Minnesota, man. I love Minnesota.
He's the best, man. Yeah. He's so good. And yeah, so I got in contact with them, and they asked for a mix, and I sent them a mix, and they're like, cool. And then I remember we met at a Jamba Juice in Santa Cruz and signed a contract, and it was just like, we'll give you shows. And it was for pretty low amounts of money, but it was fun. And I remember my first show.
So you're kind of their resident?
Yeah, me and Christian, we would just play before, like they'll have Excision out or like Borgore, and they'd put us like right before. And then it got to the point where, dude, I remember this one time they brought Rusko out, and it sold out instantly. And because it was around the Fabric Lab time.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know the rules of DJing yet. Like, I didn't know, like, stage rules, right?
Right.
And they put on a contest, and they're like, out of these 3 or 4 DJs, who do you want to play right before Rusko? And I ended up winning that, and I got to play right before him, direct support, and I didn't know that you can't play the headliner's tracks.
Right.
And there's actually, if you go on YouTube right now and you look up Rusko at the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, it's a video by John Zombie, and you can see that like there's a part in it where Rusko gets pissed, and he's like, "There's a fucking book, and on that first page of the DJ handbook, it says you don't play the headliner's tracks." Because right before he went on, I said, "Give it up for Rusko," and I played Bionic Commando, which was a huge song of his at the time, and nobody said anything, and he didn't even say anything. He was nice about it, but in the video, they made it look like Minnesota did it, so I didn't get any flack for it, and Minnesota got torn up, and I had to be like, "Yo, just so everyone knows it was me, my bad, I didn't know." Right. And like from then on, it was like
That's crazy.
It was bad.
Well, it's funny though, because I mean, nobody tells you these things, right? Like that's the thing. Like I've gotten mad at people for playing my shit before I go on. I'm sure you've had that same experience.
Oh, dude. But, yes, it was a big fiasco on Twitter.
Oh wait, actually, I think I remember that. That was like years ago, right?
When I was super depressed, dude, I was such a fucking dick, and I was just like go on Twitter to find shit to complain about, and then it turned into like fuck this industry, fuck everyone involved. You have to suck dick to get where you need to be, and blah blah blah. And meanwhile, my manager, who stuck by my side the whole time, is like, yo, you need to chill because that's not how this. You can't just do that. This isn't fucking WrestleMania. You can't fucking call people out. And it's like, but now looking back, I'm just like, dude, I'm so sorry. I was such a dick.
But you don't have perspective, right? And I mean, again, that's like the double-edged sword of social media, right?
Yeah.
Is that I think for you, certainly social media has played a hand in your rise to prominence in some way, right? And I'm sure a lot of that was like fun. Like we were talking earlier, you just kind of do what you like to do, and it happens to be something that people find entertaining. Yeah. But then at least for me, like I get so much social anxiety from like social media, and it can feel like a trap after a while.
Oh yeah.
Like, have you figured out a way at this point in your life to like have that balance where you can engage with it but not get sort of brought over to the dark side of it?
Yeah, I honestly, it's gonna sound lame, the mute button.
Yeah.
The mute button, because you put on the quality filter and it hides it doesn't hide all of the shit talkers, but if someone says, fuck you, you suck at music, it hides that. So you don't even have to see it.
Right.
And then if someone's talking, there's trolls out there.
Oh,
like there's I've been a fucking troll where you're just like, I don't like this person, I'm gonna ruin their day.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then like a lot of times those people have some shit that they're dealing with, so they just project it. Because I did that shit and I didn't understand it for the longest time. And then when I figured out that like, holy shit, something's up with me, then I became nice again. Like shit like that. But like when you mute people, you're not blocking them, so you can turn it around pretty quick. And like they don't even know you muted them.
Right.
So there's so many people on Twitter right now that I get, or on Instagram, that are just lighting me up, but I can't even see it. But I feel like that I'm the same way, dude. You get that feeling where you're like, if I don't post today, or if I haven't posted anything in 3 days, like my career's on the line. It's like that's what matters nowadays.
It is, man. I don't know.
I just tweet like stupid jokes.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Because I've been slacking, man. My social media has been bad lately, but it's just my anxiety's been bad. You know, it's like I just at a certain point I can't deal with it.
I feel you.
Yeah,
I definitely feel you. But it's like I feel like once you identify it, it's easier to deal with.
Yeah, that's also true.
And it's not even like diagnosing, because I feel like it's not a disorder if everybody has it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I know what you mean.
It's tough to deal with shit sometimes, and everybody deals with it in different ways. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's like kind of easy to cope, but it's like,
well, and we're still new to social media in like the grand scheme of things. None of us know how this shit works or how it's affecting us.
And it's so much easier if like you have a problem with somebody to text them or tweet them about it rather than see them face to face and be like, yo, what's good? You know what I'm saying? Because it's less punches. No one likes a punch.
Nah, man. And you're right, too, that for the trolls, it's way easier to just, pop off on your phone.
Exactly.
Like, say fuck you to some random stranger across the country.
And 90% of the time, if you respond to them, they'll apologize and suck your dick because they didn't mean to make you hate them. They're just being a fucking troll.
It's just a manifestation of whatever shit they're going through.
Dude, I remember before social media, before iPhones, I would play Call of Duty with my friends on Xbox Live, and we'd talk so much shit and like call people names and like defend ourselves. And like nowadays, like I'm fucking 25, I think, either 24 or 25. Doesn't really matter anymore. But I'll play Counter-Strike or like some shit online, and like someone will cuss me out or call me names or whatever, and I just mute myself. I'm like, shit, I can't get into this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the social media has just kind of destroyed at least my actual like response. I feel like I need to have a scripted response for shit like that.
Right,
now.
like you can't even get into it, even if you want to at this point. It's just better to walk away.
Everyone's so quick to tear you up about shit nowadays, so it's like, I'll just shut up.
Well, I mean, before all those days when you were kind of, starting to you're opening for Rusko, starting to tour around a little, I think releasing some songs around that time too.
Yeah. That was when I did a bunch of shit with Firepower and Rotten and Ultra Gore.
Right.
It was just basically people that...
Because you were first known for like the just hard as nails dubstep stuff.
Yeah, of course. Like it was, I feel like a lot of producers are so young and they start with one thing and they're so concentrated on one thing that they get so good at it, and then it's hard for them to branch out and try other things. Because like if you're a producer or an engineer, you never have to do one thing, but you get put on that because you're so young and you don't know better.
Right. Well, and I remember you kind of dealt with that by having a bunch of side projects early on, right? Or alter egos.
Yeah, I had a few.
Project Neutral?
Planet Neutral.
Planet Neutral, yeah.
It's actually my name, Tanner Petula, like mixed up. I went to an anagram maker
that's dope.
Online and like typed it in. But like
I like that.
Yeah, it was cool. But it was just, you want to know what it was that changed my life forever?
What was that?
Eptic came to my house one day, right down the street years ago. I had this apartment with my friend Chris, and he showed me Flume and Flying Lotus.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, like, he's like, I don't make stuff like this, but like, this is like my shit. And I was immediately obsessed. And like, it was this first time I had the same feeling with like, when I made dubstep shit, like first,
right?
Like, it was like, holy shit, I need to learn this. It's so interesting. I've never wanted to cry from a song before.
Right.
What the fuck? And like, yeah, it was just kind of that sparked it. Like I made a handful of songs and then just was like, I need to put this out.
And at the time, did you feel like you couldn't do it as Getter? Like people wouldn't accept it?
Oh yeah, because like, I mean, it's still kind of the same, but like when you get known for one thing, it'd be like if, like, Post Malone came out with like a rap song and then he put out a fucking country song.
Right.
Or like song with acoustic guitar. So he's doing it right. But like, I feel like I put out so much heavy shit that my fans were all into that and not all of them are open to it, which is totally cool. But like, it was just weird. I had to take it from a different angle. But I feel like now I'm to the point where I've kind of paid my dues.
Right.
And it's like, you like that kind of music? I've made every single type of that. Go check it out. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do what I want to do now.
Was there a moment when you realized you could actually just do it all as Getter and not have to try to separate everything?
I think so, yeah. It was when Steven Pale started managing me. Shout out Flick. He loved the mellow shit more than the heavy shit. And he loved them both, but like that stuff really stood out. And he's like, dude, I really think you should ditch the side project and just do this. And
that's a good manager.
Yeah, he's the fucking man, dude. I wouldn't be shit without that fool. Him and Borgore. Because Borgore, me and him became close friends. And of course, I'm starstruck as shit. And like, I would go to the studio with him and we would just fuck around.
Yeah.
And like, I'd help him with sound design. He'd help me with my mixes because he had a crazy studio setup and I just had headphones, shit like that. And then that led to like Like I've known Steven for years. He used to book me in LA and like help me drink when I was underage.
There you
Shit
go.
like that.
I
and
love
like,
that, man. That's do you know Conrad?
Yeah, of course. I know him now. Yeah. He's fucking dope. And you know what's funny? My manager is he's a fucking hard. He used to work at a prison. People are scared of him. He's such a dick to everybody, but like in a good way for me.
Yeah.
And he never says anything nice about anyone. And like not to be mean, he's just very honest.
Yeah.
But Conrad is actually the first guy where I'm like, yeah, dude, Daniel found a manager. Conrad's managing him. And he's like, yeah, he's a good guy. He's going to handle Daniel. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. No, I mean, that's my analysis too, but it's like Conrad used to book me in Minnesota back in the day. Like I love those old connections that kind of come back around,
crazy.
you know?
Yeah. Dude, I knew Steven for so long and then found out that he got picked up with Asaf Borgor to do photos and then tour management. And then he was part-time managing him. And then it kind of led to like, I was in a rut because I was doing so much and making so much music and putting all this effort in, and I had all these ideas, and then we'd go to these dudes at these companies and they're like, no, you need to do what this person's doing and then you can open for them. And Steven was like the first person that's like, we can roll with this. I'll find some people that are down. And it literally came from me just being in the studio with Borgor years ago. It was like right when I did Head Splitter, like before it came out, and it was like, just broke down one day. I'm just like, fool, I'm like struggling hard right now. I was super fat because I spent every day in the studio just grinding. And then like he's like, you're a good dude and I fuck with you and like I'll set you up. And then I believe Steven's first client, like full-time client.
Right.
And then the rest was fucking
wild,
hished.
man. And Borgor's always been on that shit too. Like, I feel like he never gets enough credit for putting other people on.
Oh, dude,
you know?
It's insane. And the best part about it is like, I've been put on from a lot of people and a good chunk of them want some shit back from you.
Sure.
They'll be like, yeah, I'll put you on, but you'll never be as big as me. But you get to play a tour for $800 for fucking 3 months. And it's like at the time it's fine because it's for the experience. But Borgor to this day is still the only dude that has just helped me from the generosity. Like he doesn't expect anything back. He's just like, you're my friend and I'm going to help you out.
Yeah.
And like, I would not be shit without that fool. He's such a good dude.
And you can tell he's just generally excited about new shit and new sounds and new artists.
Yeah, like dude,
you can, even to this day.
Yeah, he had like a big room part of his career.
I remember
and it was
that,
like when everybody started doing big room, and to people like me and my friends, like the dubstep guys that are so used to his shit, back to the changeover stuff, right? We're so used to the heavy Borgor shit that when he did that, we're like, this motherfucker's selling out. This blah blah blah. But like that, I thought that until I was in the studio with him, and he genuinely liked that shit. It was simple enough and repetitive enough to like. He thought it was easy to make. He liked making it. It was catchy. The big leads were super sick to him, and like. Just shit like that. That fool has made so much shit. And he's like the first dude, in my opinion, to really take hip hop and dubstep and like merge them.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, because he was on that early, like doing his own raps and like just shit that I'm sure other people would probably have told him not to do.
Exactly.
You know?
And like it was like, he obviously has a very thick accent.
Yeah.
And he would rap with not even knowing all of the English language, but it was so tight. And like, he brought Miley Cyrus on a track, the first person out of all this shit. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for it, even though he's super famous already.
Yeah.
I feel like that dude's so still underrated.
No, I agree with you, man. Yeah. He occupies a place where I think he gets a lot of respect from DJs, but maybe not the public respect that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's fine with him.
Yeah, that's
he's
the
not
other
a big
thing.
social dude.
No,
you know,
no,
his
yeah.
I remember I told him I get crazy anxiety before I go on stage sometimes, depending on my mood. And he told me, he's like, yeah, dude, same. Like, I just don't look at the crowd. I do my thing and expect them to react how they usually do. And now I do that whenever I'm anxious. I'll just kind of like keep to myself and count. You have to count.
Right.
You have to.
Well, and you know, his, like, I was talking to him about this too. You know, he has such a crazy image out there of like sex and rock and roll and all this shit. But then he's such a chill dude. Yeah. And it's like, man, that must be...
He's a sweetheart.
He's a sweetheart, but I to me, it's like, that must be such a stressful choice to make, to be like, this is what I want to put out there, because then that's what everyone's going to expect of him.
It's crazy. Dude, trust me, when I first met him, I thought he was that's what, like, it's like proof that like brands work, because everybody's like, holy shit, this guy gets fucked up every day and fucks all these girls and blah, blah, blah. But like when I met him, it was like, yeah, I have a girlfriend and I've been with her for a while. and like I don't cheat on her, and I barely drink, and he's never done a drug in his life.
Yeah, it's so wild.
Shit like that. So it's just like, you're not there for a soft. You're there for Borgor, who's this brand who like booty for Borgor.
Right.
Like Borgor fucks all these girls, when in reality, like he just likes that shit. He likes like being that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So that's his brand, and it just works. And it's like, I still think he's fucking badass for that shit, you know?
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. I think it's inspirational to like another sort of introverted, quiet dude like me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you can like have that experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that music's so cool in that aspect, because it gives shy people like you and I and Borgor the power to be like, okay, well, I'm a different person.
Do you think of yourself as a shy person?
Oh, I mean, that's another reason why I keep a small circle of friends, like very close friends, because it's not that I'm shy. I just get into this weird mind state, and I feel like it's because I did a bunch of drugs, because I didn't used to be like that, or it's from the iPhones, or like maybe a combination of both. But like when I go places, even if like, for lack of a better term, I'm the most famous dude there, I still feel like I'm just at the bottom, and everybody's kind of looking like, look at this fucking guy. Just like social anxiety. So I just like don't like to meet new people.
Yeah.
And like I would say that is kind of shy, but for the most part, if I'm in a new place, I cope with shit with humor, so I'll be the funny guy.
Right.
And it helps a little bit, but like...
Yeah, and that's a good way, that's a positive way to deal with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it must have been weird, like around that time when you start, meeting Borgor, meeting your manager, you're doing some shows, putting out some music, and you were also kind of blowing up on Vine around that time, is that right?
Yeah, that shit was crazy. It was so random, because... it was just that app that you go to see funny shit.
Right.
Because it was just quick. It's like Instagram shit. It just fulfills that part of your brain.
But it must have been strange for you to just all of a sudden, from music, from Vine, from whatever it was, all of a sudden a lot of more people know who you are.
Exactly.
Right?
But
and can recognize you.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it helped me, but it hurt me, because I've always wanted to be a fucking musician.
Right.
And at the time, it was like around the same time I got with Steven and everything. It was like I was struggling to find something to make me pop off. And then Vine came through, and I didn't even make them. And then I met Nick Coletti, and then he kind of was like, inspired the fuck out of me to be more funny and like do all this shit, because I thought about it at the time, and I was like, as long as they know my name, I can be a musician. So that went to like the Sadude thing and then all this stuff. But then it started to make me really fucking sad and depressed, because I'd put my past 8-9 years that I've been working on music and trying to achieve this vision and do all this shit. And I got it all from not music. And then everybody started coming up to me, and instead of being like, dude, that new track is so cool, they're like, dude, what's up?
Right.
Or like these jokes, and it's like, I appreciate it. That's cool and shit, but it's like, people always like, you get so mad when people say so, dude. And it's like, it's not that, it's because I have this other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and it's that classic thing on social media where if you post a stupid meme, you get all these clicks and all these likes. And then if you post about an actual piece of art you made, like you get way less.
It's like I started to notice it a lot more when I toured with like all my friends I was funny with. And we would post a video of us wearing like baby clothes at Walmart.
Yeah.
So many likes and comments and interactions. And then I'll post a picture of me playing like a sold out Chicago crowd surfing, like super proud of myself. And then it would get not even a quarter. Yeah. And that's kind of when I started to recognize, I'm like, maybe this isn't what I should be doing.
I had a sort of a microcosm of that experience, because I've only posted one Vine in my life. And that one Vine went super crazy.
Really?
It has like 60 million views now.
Which one is it?
It's the original Rick Ross Pear thing.
No, that was you?
That was me.
Holy shit,
yeah.
That's what's up. I had no idea.
Yeah. No, nobody knows.
Shout out to all the Pear.
Exactly. And so I posted that just for no reason, and it went crazy. And I was like, now it has more views than like any music I'm ever going to put out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird feeling. And there was no way to really monetize it.
Yeah, that's why it died out.
Right. Or to even just like you were saying, like direct any attention onto what you actually cared about.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Because like
man.
how many times on Twitter have you seen somebody posts something that has like 20K retweets and it's hilarious or
Right.
like some stupid shit. And then like in the comments, they post again, by the way, check this out. This is what I'm really
Exactly.
doing. And no one gives a fuck. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's just how the world works. But I feel like that's how you learn, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like this kind of thing, podcasts, I feel like is a healthy way because people get to experience you and they get to experience me. And it's from like a musical, like we're talking about music
Yes.
mostly. And it's like musician talking to musician. It's not like musician talking to comedian
Right.
or like comedian. It's like, I feel like this is the stuff that could really help music and not your music or my music.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely doing this show has been very inspirational for me. It's definitely helped my music.
Fuck yeah.
And-
That's
yeah.
good. It's good. And like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if you just find a way to balance it, like I can still be funny, but there was a time very recently, the past few years, where it was like, I wanted to do music. I wanted to tour. I wanted to be in videos. I wanted to write stuff. I wanted to do a clothing brand and do all this shit. I wanted to rap and like do so many things, but it was taking away from my actual vision that I forgot about. And so once I kind of honed in and realized that, okay, I can't run a fucking successful clothing brand if I want to do music.
Yeah.
I can't be, at least right now, I can't be a fucking actor, comedian if I'm doing this right now. I need
they're all
to
full-time jobs.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's like I can't be on the road working on a song, making a fucking order for Zoomies and writing his fucking sketch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it needs to be done naturally. So I kind of passed everything to people. You know, my brother handled Shred, Daniel handles Trippy Burger, and it's like I'm kind of like no more YouTube. I want to get music first and handle that. And then once that's done, I'll have resources to do, you know, the other shit. So it's
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's worth mentioning that kind of in this rise, while all of your shit was going crazy, you did start a clothing brand.
Yeah.
You know, you had Trippy Burger.
Thanks
and,
to Steven.
Oh, there you go.
We did the Sadu thing. He's like, you need to make shirts. You can't monetize Vine. You need to make shirts. And we did like one day 60K in sales.
Wow.
And me and Nick were just rich for a little bit. And I immediately spent it all on an R8 and was just stoked. Nick taught me about the secret. I read The Secret and watched the movie. It was like the visualizing your goals.
Right.
And as soon as he moved in with me, it was like, I want an R8. And so as soon as I got the fucking money, it was like, boom.
Yeah.
Now I'm broke again. But it was cool. It helped a little bit. Definitely. My music blew up because of it.
Right.
And that's cool. But now it's time to kind of get back into the music.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's like, I feel like everybody has a Harlem Shake
Sure.
because Bauer is a great musician. He's been grinding and making a bunch of shit. And it just so happens that one blew up and people knew him for that. But now he's doing fucking everything.
Oh yeah,
Right?
and I mean, this is the thing I think people forget is he was a great artist before Harlem Shake.
Mm-hmm.
For years he was putting out awesome shit, but just like everybody else, like he was in the rat race. You
Exactly.
know?
And he actually made that way before it even fucking blew up.
Right.
But that is I'm sure he likes the song, but I'm sure he likes a lot of his other shit better.
Yeah.
It's like with this new album I'm putting out, it is my favorite shit and I've polished it and it's my fucking child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when people push me to release it or like talk about my old shit or just like find some complaint, it's like, dude, I get it, but like if you like that old shit, this won't disappoint you because this is better. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's like,
right. You've evolved as a person. Music evolves as a culture, and it's, you know, people who listen to music are growing up at the same
Yeah.
time. You know, it's like, I don't know. People who want the artist to just make the same thing over and over, I feel like there's something wrong in their life. You know.
It's like they want to fill a void for something.
Yeah, that's
and that's
more
fine. But like people always forget there's so many different kinds of fucking music. My dad likes Dave Matthews Band and
Yeah.
Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and all these guys. And it's so different from my shit. But like Daniel's dad loves classical music, but he also loves death metal and he also loves fucking dubstep. Like certain people can wean it out. And like I listen to I love Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
I fucking love Post Malone. I love Miley Cyrus, like shit like that. I love it. I don't listen to it all the time.
Sure, yeah.
But I get it. And it's like, I understand that with hip hop, there's the lyrical stuff and then there's the party stuff.
Right.
Everybody likes to party. So that's why all these new rappers are blowing up for like minimal work, which is fine because
Right.
they're the party icons. But I feel like people that follow, the younger kids that follow that shit haven't really found out that there's different types of music for different situations. Remember
Yes.
emo bands?
Yeah.
When we're all sad and angsty teens and you turn to this music and you're like, they fucking get it, bro. They get that shit. Like, I feel like there's not really much of that anymore.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think
why
that's
people
true.
are so quick to like, be like, fuck you, go back to this. Where's the party stuff?
Yeah. And they're probably trying to just recapture moments of their life too, right? Or
Yeah.
nostalgia. Like, yeah, I can even relate to that because, music and memories are so tied. It's like you remember where you were when you heard a song or whatever. Those are great feelings. I get it if people want to feel that again, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's like the timeless stuff that sticks
Yeah.
that you still listen to. And it's like, I feel like there's not a lot of that anymore. Like, I fucking love Lil Pump.
Yeah.
He's so dope. But I don't think I'll listen to Gucci Gang in 5 years.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like a now song and it's
Yeah.
a party song and it fucking goes off. You play that shit
Exactly.
at shows to party.
Exactly,
But like
man.
shit like Postal Service or like Death Cab or Bright Eyes, Desideratios, like shit like that was made so long ago that's you still listen to. Like I still listen to, I love Flume. He's really good. And I still listen to his old shit. Or even Bass Nectar.
Yeah,
I give
yeah.
Bass Nectar fans, I used to give them a lot of shit because they're just hilarious to
Yeah.
me. But like Bass Nectar is like a god to me.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
He's like the first dude that like changed my life.
No, he's incredible.
He's insane.
Yeah, there's a reason he is Bass Nectar,
Yeah. And he fucking, yeah, it's crazy. But I feel like
I mean,
with time, people grow to love more shit.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's a good way to talk about your new album. The songs I've heard, and you were playing a bunch of them at that show we were all at, and the Colorblind is the single,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah. And all of that, I mean, it seems like you are kind of bringing all of your influences together
Yeah.
maybe at a higher level than you have before.
And it's like, people are going to hear it. I guarantee you people are going to say, who influenced it and who I want to be like. But at the end of the day, it's a collection. I have like over 40 songs right now that are unreleased. And this is 12 of those that are stand out to me. And each song represents a time in my life when I was sad or when I was stoked or when I was suicidal or when I was fucked up. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. And it's like, to me, if I can listen to a song of mine all the way through and really like think about why I wrote it, then it's like a timeless track, like fucking old Postal Service shit.
Right,
Like
right,
I remember when I first heard songs when I was younger and it was like at a certain time. So I'm trying to take that and bring that back to people and be like,
Yeah.
yo, when you're driving 6 hours and you listen to my album, you're going to remember that because that drive's going to suck. Shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're sad and you listen to this song and you start crying because of it and you don't know why you're crying, you're going to remember that shit because maybe a song's never made you cry.
No, I love that, man. And you mentioned earlier there was a point in your life when you were kind of depressed and you were popping off on Twitter and all of that. Did you sort of figure out how to channel that into music over time?
Slowly.
Yeah.
It was like, it's hard to explain. I mean, like, it's like when you get somewhere that you've been working for and it's not what you fucking wanted and you're just crushed.
Is
And
that
it's
how
like,
you felt about just success in
Yeah,
general?
it was just where I was. It was like, before it was like naturally made organic friends that are really good, true friends. And then you do one thing and now all of a sudden people that seem like they're true friends, like don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like,
That's the industry, man. Yeah.
yeah. Or like you want to do something like play a festival and have all this money. And then after you do that and you're happy for a little bit and you got some cash and you're like, wow, this is cool. And then like the bad like overtakes the good. And then you're just like, dude, this sucks. I want to go back to Arby's when shit was simple. And it like sounds whack, but like it just like got to me. And then like you just keep getting fucked over and like people just keep fucking you over and you could do a cry for help, be like, hey guys, this is what's up. And no one gives a shit about you at the end of the day, except for your small group of friends.
Right, yeah.
And it was just like, everything got to me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to deal with it. I hate doctors. I'm not about to sit in front of an old guy and be like, you're depressed, take these pills. So you self-medicate and you try to find a way to cope with shit. And then finally I figured out that it was like, when I listen to music, I don't give a shit about fucking anything. And so then it was like, okay, maybe I should start writing some shit when I'm feeling like this instead of just writing shit to go off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With this kind of music, I've never made something and played it the same day because it's like structurally impossible for me because it needs to be a full flow of everything. And so it got to the point where like, dude, I fucking called my mom at my studio just fucking bawling. And I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. I've never felt like this. I feel like I need to fucking die. Like something's going on. I can't do this. And my mom's biggest advice to me was like, I've been there. What I do is write in a journal. And I tried that and it wasn't for me because I'm not a writer. But then I made Colorblind and fucking screamed at the top of my lungs in my studio. And then I immediately felt better. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. And then I went back to all of my older shit.
Right.
That I was working on before the album was even a thing. I just had all these songs that were like really pretty. And then I put that energy into finishing them. Because you know when you make a song and you get stuck and it sits forever?
Yeah.
All of those songs, after I found out that like, holy fuck, if like I have this power to fix, I have my musical Xanax. I have this shit that can make me deal with all the bad shit happening in the world right now. And then I just channel that to everything. And that's why like each song is like it like represents a different part of like shit I've gone through.
Yeah. And I love that too, because then not only does that help you as a person emotionally and all that, but it helps the music too, right? Like,
exactly. Like this shit is the best shit I've made and I'm so passionate about it and I'm know it will be successful. And it's not even like, I want to be rich. I want to be on a magazine. It's literally just like, I'm so proud of this shit that like it needs to be in the world for people to listen to and I need to make more of it.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, cause I've never been a big partier. You think you are, but I never was. So it's like, I love dubstep. I love sound design and like the style of shit and people's brands, but like, I'm not a party animal.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, I feel like now that I know that and I know why I started making music because it helps me and hopefully other people with problems that like will end up killing you from drugs or something. It's like I have the fucking answer right on my computer right now. So.
Did you ever feel like, because I felt like this, especially earlier in my career, that you know, you said you figured out you weren't a party animal. And when you said that, I was like, wait, yeah, that happened to me too. Because for a long time, it's partying, it's just naturally, like that's the easiest thing for us to do when we're out. And then, after a while, I was like, oh, wait, like this actually... I don't like this. Yeah, no, I don't like it. That's so weird. I've been doing something I don't like for years.
Yeah. You do shit because it's there, and you do shit because other people do it. When you're still younger and it's still all new, whatever your age is, it's like everyone you look up to is a party animal.
Yeah.
When you go on tour, everybody parties. So like, okay, I'm going to party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with like when I was super depressed, I was looking for some shit to like deal with it. And at one point it was like turning to a bunch of girls for company and like trying to be friends with a bunch of girls and having sex and being an idiot. And like, you know, it's, you turn to all these things, but at the end of the day, it's right in front of you and you don't fucking know it. And it's like, I found out at the same time I don't like to party. It's like, I'm not a dude, like a man whore. I'm a sweetheart girlfriend kind of guy.
Right.
I like having a girlfriend to talk to and like shit like that. And it's like, I feel like that's the beauty in like being sad as fuck and confused because you figure it out and you figure out like, okay, I shouldn't do this because I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And once you're there, it's locked in, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, you like, I know that I don't like going out and meeting new people. I don't like to drink. I don't like to do drugs. I don't like smoking weed unless it's right before bed. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't like meeting people who think they're better than me. Shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, now that I know all that stuff, if someone's like, yo, you want to go party? It's like, no, I'm going to play video games because I want to be happy for me because we could die tomorrow and I don't want to die partying.
100%, man. And if you look at, the most successful people in our industry, they're for the most part, like non-partiers, like chill people, hard workers.
There's a handful of people that party and can handle it and love partying, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I met Borgor and he's like, I've never done a drug. I barely drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, fool. Jaeger sponsors your tour and you don't drink? That's crazy.
It's wild. But I mean, you look at any of those guys, you know, Diplo, Skrillex, all of them, like, you know, I'm sure they all have their vices, but for the most part, they just work really fucking hard and keep their head down, you know?
Exactly. Like, and it's really fucking inspiring to see all these successful people that are just clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the only thing I take is Adderall because it helps me. It doesn't get me high. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't notice any side effects. It doesn't make me depressed. I don't overdo it.
Yeah.
I take it how I'm supposed to take it. And it's like, it helps me do what I need to do. And if there's something like that, that's totally fair game.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But if you're abusing Xanax because you don't understand what's wrong with you, or you're doing coke because everybody else is doing it, it's just like, come on, man. You know what I mean?
And what's going on with the Tara Reid stuff? Is there an album coming for that as well?
Yeah, I've kind of, the Tara Reid stuff, I always tell people, I love doing it. It's super fun, but it's always going to be a side project.
Okay.
Because like the Getter thing is the main focus, but I miss the days when SoundCloud was new and there was no monetization or copyright shit. So you could remix any song, post whatever. There's no schedule.
Yeah.
And it's just like freedom. So I feel like that is what Tara Reid is for me now. It's just like that back in the day feeling. And
Yeah. Just an outlet when that's the mood you're in.
It's just like, hey, it's been 6 months. Here's a new song. Check it out, whatever. Never check any socials. Like that's how it was. So I'm just keeping that little thing. I've gotten offers from labels and like tours and stuff, and I'm definitely making an album, but I'm kind of just keeping it my little project for
That's
now.
fair. Well, and like you said, you got to concentrate on one thing at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Remember like Blink-182 had Boxcar Racer?
Yeah.
And it was just like a little fun thing on the side. I feel like that's what my shit is. It's just like, it'll always be there. It's just not my primary focus. But there's definitely an album. I just don't know when.
That's dope. And for right now, you said you're working on a live show for when you put the album out?
It's kind of all up in the air right now, but I'm trying to, like, I feel like when you're DJing, obviously I have a few drinks when I'm playing to, like, ease the nerves and shit. I don't get shit-faced anymore on stage, but, like, DJing to me, it's fun, but it's too easy, and that's not even me being a chode. It's just, like, I like challenging shit.
Sure. I mean, we were talking about technical death metal earlier.
Like that's why I respect those fools so much, because the possibility of fucking one thing up and ruining the show and having everybody talk shit is possible, but you're still up there because you perfected it. Yeah. I'm trying to get more into that. You know what I mean? But it's really hard when you're making electronic music. So I'm going to do my best to like have some pads up there and like really try to play it instead of just cueing Ableton and having a drumstick ready,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like not even talking shit, but I feel like
no, I know what you mean.
You're inching away from DJing at that point. But I want to be a performing artist and like really feel what I made again, the same kind of feeling, and like not have to count and not have to get people's attention. Like we saw Flying Lotus at the Hollywood Bowl a few weeks ago, and fucking there was no ravers, which I don't have anything against ravers, but I feel like when you're at a show, the show is the focus, nothing around you.
Yeah.
So there was no people with gloves giving each other light shows. There's no phones out filming it. He gave everybody 3D glasses and it was the show. And you look around and everybody's watching the show and like, that's what I want. He's performing his music for a bunch of people to listen to while something crazy is happening behind him. And like, I feel like that's my goal to just like be not, I don't want to be the center of attention. I want what I made to be the center of attention. Because, I want people to pay attention to my shit.
That makes sense, man. And I like the idea, too, that you're kind of, you know, we were talking about this period where you kind of, you know, didn't know what you wanted to do, or maybe you were feeling lost. And I like the idea that now you can kind of create the culture that you want to be in, instead of participating in a culture that might not be everything you want it to be.
Yeah, because if you look, like, in history, the biggest names blew the fuck up because it was different but dope. Remember Odd Future and Tyler the Creator?
Oh yeah, man.
Shit came back. It was such a crazy fusion of everything. It was punk. It was hip hop. It was old school classical hip hop. It was
they were
all this
so
shit.
Far ahead of their time.
Exactly. But look at Tyler the Creator now. I remember I got sick of their shit because I couldn't see an interview with Tyler the Creator without him being a fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
And now he's like a professional and he opens up to people. He makes eye contact and really takes his shit serious. And his fucking Flower Boy is one of my favorite albums. It's like all over the place with shit. And it's like, I feel like that is like, I don't know. It's just very respectable. And like, yeah, I feel like every artist kind of goes through shit and discovers themselves, but it's always the different people that stand out.
Right. And it's been cool. I think for your music too, you've kind of been able to, just what I was saying earlier, like sample, the vibe or the energy from a few different things and combine it in a way that, you were saying that like Borgore was one of the first to really like successfully bring like hip hop and dubstep together. And I feel like, I don't know if this is your intention, but I feel like that's something you've been able to do with your music. And I think the new album probably even more so is like really make a fusion in more of an organic way.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like it's exactly right. I'm trying to meld everything together. Like there's going to be shit on the album that is like the prettiest shit you've heard, but there's also a part of it that like bass heads will fuck with, the dudes on the rail and stuff. Like I'm trying to make something that everybody can take something from. And like it's fused with like there's shit in there that you could rap over. You know what I mean? Like there's shit you could sing over. You could play guitar over shit. It's just like really trying to.
Are you working with anyone on the album? Any collabs on there?
Yeah, there's 12 songs, minus the interludes, 11, and then I sing on one of them, and then there's one instrumental. So there's 9 features, and they're all like the first song I made for the album. Well, the first full song that I didn't go back to was a song with this girl Niomza, who's a singer.
She's dope. I know.
Yeah,
her,
I met her through Nick, and she works with Mac Miller a lot and like his whole crew. And we just sat in the studio and made a dope song from scratch. And I just feel like people who I vibe with or have taken something from. Nothing Nowhere followed me a while ago. I remember I went to this Zoomies event, and then he followed me, and I asked my brother, like, yo, who's Nothing Nowhere? He's like, he's dope, you should check him out. And then that resulted in me listening to his shit and being like, holy shit. And then hitting him up to work, and it turned out he was a fan. And then like, there's a song on the album with Joji, who is with 88 Rising, who I used to watch his YouTube videos when he did the Filthy Frank stuff. And I feel like me and him get along so much because the first time I met him, he was explaining to me how he feels trapped because he's a musician and he loves making music, but his whole vibe is on YouTube right now, or at that time. Right. So like they'll listen to his stuff because he's funny. So he was in kind of the same boat as me, and now it's so sick to see him up there. And it was so quick for him to be like, yeah, let's do it, whatever. He's one of the highest selling artists out right now, and he's just like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's so sick.
It was tight. So it's all just like vibes like that. Like people, there's this one dude on it named UL who's a rapper from UK. I met him one time. He looks like Drake, and I'm like, you look like Drake. He's like, oh, cool, what's up? And we hung out, and then it's like, let's make a song.
There you go, man. Yeah, I like the little organic connections that way. Is always the best way to make music, I think.
Yeah, it's just like the raw, like I hate scheduling going to the studio. And like Diablo is my roommate, and I don't like living with random people. He's the most random fool I've ever lived with because he hit me up on Twitter, and we hung out once, and I just got cool vibes from him. I'm like, dude, you're chill. Shit like that. But like we never scheduled anything. Anytime I schedule studio time, it's never how I want it to be.
Right.
So I feel like if it's like I make something, and most of these people I've never even met. I've never met I can't really say a lot of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, there's a lot of fools I haven't met. Or like I did this song with this kid Madoka, who was the same deal as Nothing Nowhere. My day-to-day started managing him, and she's like, check him out. And then I'm like, let's make a song right now.
That's dope, cool.
Man. It's all just raw shit.
Do you feel like at this point in your career or just in life that you kind of are able to read people pretty quickly that way and be like,
I think so. I think I can kind of tell people's intentions nowadays.
Yeah.
Like seeing...
I think this career kind of trains us to do that.
Yeah, it's... I feel like if I'm done with this, I probably want to get into artist management or law. Because you can kind of tell what people fucking want from you nowadays. If there's somebody who comes up to you and is immediately ready to suck your dick on some real shit and tell you how cool you are, it's like, dude, I appreciate it, but like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Why are you...
Well, that's the thing. You got to look beyond it and be like, what do you want out of this?
Exactly. It's like, dude, I don't want to waste my time pretending to be genuine bro.
Right.
Like, tell me what you want to do. If it's a business thing, tell me what you want. If it's a friendship thing, put your fucking phone away.
Yeah.
Like Joey, Half Empty.
Yeah.
I met him. He was one of my first friends out here too. And I met him at the Avalon in Hollywood, out in the front, because I thought he was Bauer. Okay. He looked like Bauer at the time. And I went up to him. I'm like, are you Bauer? And he's like, yeah. Are you Getter? And like, I knew he wasn't Bauer.
Yeah,
I was just fucking around. He's like, yeah, are you Getter? I was like, yeah. And he's like, and we just like fucked around, and then we became friends. And we still, like, he's never once, even early on, asked for a picture or asked for any stupid favors.
Yep.
But he was the first fool there when I went through a crazy breakup. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that is like what really matters to me. Diablo is the same fucking deal. Like, we haven't even been friends for that long, but he's still just like, I'm here for you, dog. I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a hug when you're down. Shit like that. That's what I look for in like someone that I want to keep in my life.
Yeah, and that's the key, man. I mean, I think that's such a valuable piece of advice for anybody trying to get involved with anything even related to the music industry. Is like, just don't ask people for shit.
Yeah.
Like, really don't do it.
And dude, I always say this shit. Ricky Sands, amazing fucking producer. And anybody who asks me like, yo, how do I get my music out there? How do I do this? It's like, number one, don't send it to people because that shit's annoying. Even if it's a good song, probably not going to listen to it if you're bugging me. Ricky Sands made, what was that fucking song? Blah, 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 blah. You remember that shit?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Dude, he made that song. He wasn't shit. At least I don't think he was. I didn't know who he was. But next thing you know, you see Skrillex and Diplo playing it. Good music will get heard, for sure. You don't have to put it anywhere. Someone will retweet it or whatever. It's the same shit with Vine, same shit with Twitter. If it's funny, if it sticks out, it'll get retweeted.
Right.
If it's trash, it probably won't get attention. Work harder.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just it'll get its attention organically. You just like have to perfect it.
Yeah, 100%. Man.
And Ricky Sands did that. Now he's fucking touring artist.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
Shout
yeah.
out Ricky Sands.
Shout out to Ricky-san, yeah. Where do you, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, if you weren't doing this, you'd do management or even law or something. Yeah. Is that something you actually, like, way down the line see yourself doing? Like, are you thinking about eventually getting out of it? Like,
yeah, I would love to, like, once I've done my part, help somebody do theirs. In like in a way my manager does it where he's like, dude, I don't fucking want anything from you. I fuck with you.
Yeah.
And you could make me some money.
Right.
So let's do it together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to use somebody. I want to work with them in the future after all of this. My first choice before any music was like designing shit, like interior designing, or like my girlfriend always gives me shit for it because it's like not, you wouldn't expect me to want to be an interior designer, but like that, or I used to draw a bunch, or like I like making clothes, shit like that. But I feel like all of that's achievable later. But like, if I were to pick one thing to do after all of this experience, good and bad, it would be probably, because it'd be cool to, you know, I'm like in my 30s, I pick up a dude who's 19 and I steer him to avoid all the bad shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, people need that. I wish I would have had that when I was 19, you know?
And sometimes I'll get in a situation, there's one recently I can't really talk about, but my manager will be like, yeah, they're trying to do this to you. You thought you were close with them. They're trying to fuck you. That happens all the time.
Right.
And it's like, instead of me finding out for myself and getting bummed out, it's like, okay, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen. So
yeah, 100%. It's weird how the business side of it, it's almost just expected.
Exactly.
That it's like people don't even take offense anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, of course we tried to screw you. That's like what we do.
Yeah. I remember I saw a video a while ago, before I even talked to Deadmau5 at all. There was a video, I think it was a Coffee Runner studio stream, and he said one thing that really stuck out to me, where nobody in this industry does favors. Nobody's doing anything out of the kindness of their heart. They want something from you, and that's fine. That's how business works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, there's a small percentage of people who can separate it and be like, I'm your friend, but we work together. I'm not going to fuck you over.
Right.
If I do, it's nothing personal, but like, that just made so much sense to me, where it's like, everybody wants something from you. If you get signed to something, they want something from you. They want your music so they can make money, so they can blow their label up. They don't give a fuck about you, right? So it's like, it just stuck out to me.
Did you have those kind of experiences like early on? Because I definitely had a few of those.
Oh, yeah.
Where, because early on you're just excited about everything.
You're
Any
like, people
opportunity.
fuck with my shit. That's so sick. And then, like the standard, you get a contract and you don't read it and you sign it and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Why did I make 30 grand on this song and only got $200?
Yeah.
Right? It's like shit like that. But I feel like that's kind of the paying your dues thing.
That's true, man. Everyone goes through it. It's a shared experience we can at least all bitch about later.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of wanted to talk just a little bit about how you met Skrillex and how you got involved with Ausla and sort of what the experience was like at those early days. Because from an outsider's perspective, that sort of seemed like that was when everything just started like going on a rocket ship.
Yeah, that's like, it all happened at like a similar time. Ausla, Dude, all that shit happened all at the same time. And I feel like it was
crazy.
It was wild. And it was like, it was all natural because the Dude thing happened. We made the video and it didn't blow up until after I hired Steven because he was like, we need content. I'm going to use this video. And then it blew up.
Yeah.
And then the shirts happened. And then a bunch of money. And then the R8. And then blah. But it was the same shit with Head Splitter as I was talking about with Ricky Sans.
Right.
Like I was one of those dubstep kids that was like, fuck every other genre. And then I think I was talking to Mayhem, that dude Mayhem Anthony.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah, and I believe he kind of didn't talk me into it, but made me more open to trap and understanding that it's like hip hop without a rapper. And it's not just like another hype. You know what I'm saying?
He's good at, like, he's an evangelical for that, man. Like, he's a really convincing guy.
He's great. Yeah, he's a super genuine dude. He's another dude that I feel like is kind of like me, where he doesn't need a lot of people to be happy, but when he sees you, it's like he'll make sure you know you fucking matter.
100%, man.
Yeah, but no, he convinced me. Sorry, didn't convince. Showed me that trap is more than just hype. And then, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try to make some. And then I made Head Splitter, and everybody keeps trying to make the synths from Head Splitter, but I'm telling you right now, the synths in Head Splitter were my old synths from a song I made years ago, Bonesaw with Trampa, so long ago. And I just had a folder of my sounds because like we would just put them in Reason and shit.
Yeah.
Like the audio. So I just made some stupid loop with my sounds from years ago. And then there was this thread, an email thread with a bunch of producers. I think it's still going on, but I kind of stay away from that now.
Oh, I know exactly what thread you're talking about.
There's like a couple people, I don't know specifically
it's like
who,
a zombie now. It's
exactly.
Like barely,
Some people, like it was all artists, and then it's like, yeah, this promoter's pretty cool. I'll get him in here. And then leaks start happening. But that, at the time, I put like V1, version 1 of Head Splitter. And it was called Head Splitter because the original sample was Biggie saying, get your head split and get your neck slitted. And I sent it on there, and who of all people hit me up but Skrillex? It's the same shit as Ricky Sans. Like it got heard.
Yep.
He wasn't even in the thread. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure someone from the thread was like, check this out, dude.
Right.
And it's just word of mouth, and it happens so organically. And he's like, dude, we want this. We don't want a single. We want Getter. And so they're like, the first Allegiance thing I did, it was like Head Splitter, and then there was like some experimental shit in there. And that was like at the same time. It's funny because the same room I made Head Splitter in was the same room Eptic showed me Flume.
Oh shit.
And I started changing my mind about everything and started expanding. So that's Allegiance was basically my first like, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Like I'm going to make more shit. And then, so that happened super organically, but it happened a couple months before the Dude thing. So then the Head Splitter video came out, and then Dude came out, and it was just like everyone's eyes on me now, and it was so cool and all this shit. And then it just kind of, like I said, later on fizzled out. And, but I'm happy it happened.
Did you learn anything from watching Skrillex at the time? Because he was like, I feel like at the time, like there would be like one person where you could tell he was really like focused on, and that was you for like, I don't know, a few months.
Oh yeah, dude, he changed everything for me and everyone.
Yeah.
I remember shit was so basic and like UK vibes, and then he released the Scary Monster shit.
Oh yeah.
And see, at the time, I didn't know who Skrillex was. He looked familiar. And then my friend told me it was Sonny Moore from First to Last, which was my favorite band in middle school and a little bit of high school.
All these connections.
And it blew my fucking mind. And that was also kind of helped me. Like, if that fool can make that music and then do this, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And like, he really like that dude is a god.
Oh, he is. 100%.
And if you talk shit on Skrillex, bro, you need to like think about what you're doing in your life, because that man is responsible for the success of so many people. Another thing like Asaf. Like,
Yeah. Do you think you and him kind of had a connection because you both sort of got some success young and had that band background?
Skrillex?
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's like, not that you had similar upbringings, but there are a lot of like the connections in those early years.
Yeah, I feel like him for sure, but when I meet a lot of people that I look up to who are like really famous, like at first it's like, holy shit, right? And you're kind of fanned out, but like people like Skrillex are like the ones who let you know, like, I know you're excited to meet me. He doesn't say it, but it's like, I know you're excited to meet me, but like, let's hang out, dude.
Right.
Before we go to the studio, let's chill on my couch and bullshit. Like shit like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helped me a lot dealing with everything happening at the same time. But we connected on a few things, like not teaching, but like showing him something in Ableton that he didn't know,
Right.
was insanely dope for me, and vice versa. He would show me shit and he was happy that I didn't know it, and now I know this new fucking trick. But like, I feel like he just knows how to connect with people, and it's like, he's not the most talkative dude. He's never home, which is a good thing for him.
Right.
He likes to travel, but like the time we didn't hang out that much, but the time that he would hang out, it was always, for me, I feel like he would always be like, what do you want to do?
Right.
I remember we did a Chicago show and I played it the same day he did. And then he hits me up like, hey man, you have any New Year's plans? I was like, no, because it was a New Year's show. And I feel like he could kind of tell that I was in a weird spot. I was with this girl that I felt like it was just like trapped a little bit. And I feel like he could sense that. And he's like, let's go on a fucking vacation, bro. Flew us private jet to like Miami and Vegas. And it was like, I'll never forget that.
That's incredible.
And it was so cool. But I feel like he could kind of see something that not a lot of other people see, because he reads people very well.
Yeah.
Like when you meet that fool, it's eye contact like the whole time.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, man. It's funny you say that, because I have a really similar story. Like before I even had ever met him, I was at South by Southwest, and just backstage at some showcase that he was playing, and I think I played really early, and there were 20 other DJs, and this was early on, like before he was like a really big name, kind of right when he was just starting to pop.
Yeah.
And I was in a weird place that just period in my life. I was kind of just like sitting in a corner, probably not looking so hot. And he like, we never met, and he just walked into the green room and was just like, hey man, I like your jacket, and just like started talking to me. And now that you say that, probably could tell that I was feeling kind of weird. It was just so nice.
Yeah,
and
it's like something must have happened to him, good or bad, that like made him recognize that like not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I feel like I'm trying to be now. When I meet someone that I feel like is anxious around me or nervous, I'm like, yo man, like chill, let's hang out. You know what I mean? If I see a fan in public and he's nervous, I'm like, dude, I'm just like you. I just can press buttons a little bit better. You know?
Right,
like
exactly.
shit like that. But dude, it's crazy, because that same shit happened to me at Wobbleland, that show I was telling you about.
Yeah.
It was one green room for every artist. So we're in there and he walks in and immediately like beelines to me and he's like, I like your shirt, man. It was like a All Shall Perish shirt or something, some metal band. And then like I got the guts to be like, hey man, just to let you know, From First to Last is like my shit. And then like he actually remembered that years later.
Yo, his recall is crazy.
It's insane. He's like, you were at Wobbleland, right?
Yeah.
Getter, right? I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's wild. To
So
me, man.
sick.
I'm jealous of that memory, man. I can't remember.
Good. But it's people like him and it's people like Borgor who are gonna like last and be exactly what they want, because they don't have bad ties with anyone. They're just like the nice fool that helps everyone.
And I mean, I feel like you're well on your way to being in that neighborhood yourself.
Yeah, I just want to. I want to do that same shit. It's just people who idolize other people, I feel like do it for the wrong reasons. But when I idolize someone, it's like I feel like it's because I want to be like that person. Borgor is a huge idol of mine. He's also like my best friend. We barely see each other too. That's another thing, by the way. If you're a new artist and you're listening, there's going to be a point where like your friends and your real friends, you guys won't talk for a while.
Yeah.
Me and Half Empty never talk, but every time I see him, we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at first it's going to be like, yo, are we cool? Whatever. But it's just, that's how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
You're going to not be in contact with people for a long time. But if they give a fuck, you'll still be cool.
Honestly, for me, man, the podcast is a way to like see my friends.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
yeah,
it's good.
It's been really nice.
And it's like, it's hard to mix business and friendship sometimes, but if you work with your friends, it's like, it's perfect. I live with me and Daniel have been best friends forever. My brother lives with us now, Diablo, and I've worked with all of them, you know?
Yeah,
like
man.
I'll wake up in the morning and have a meeting with my brother in the next room about fucking a new shirt we're putting out. Or like me and Daniel will be watching Family Guy, turn it off and work on a song. So I feel like, yeah, it's like, it's kind of another way to deal with shit.
Yeah,
Just
man.
keep your friends there.
Make shit with your friends, man.
Support your friends.
Yeah, support your friends, 100%.
Oh, Butters.
Oh, man.
It's just hanging out.
Aw.
He's pooping right now. Butters, clean. What?
And then he knows.
Did you see the last bit pop out at the end?
Jesus Christ.
Come on, it's whatever. He knows what he did. He's like, sorry, I just really have to go.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna clean that before it smells.
Yeah.
You have to put that in there.
Oh, absolutely. Last little bit, we'll wrap it up. Before we get into it, is there anything we haven't mentioned, anything you want to get out there, anything people should be looking out for other than the album, new tour, all of that?
Yeah, we're still working on the tour, but it's next year. It's gonna be a tour for the album. It's gonna be very pretty. Gonna have full stage production, some openers, not rave vibes. It's gonna be more of like a concert or a movie.
A show.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about Flying Lotus, it's a show.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I want people to remember it. September 28th is the album, and it's going to be cool. Pre-save links soon. Real Bros of Simi Valley Season 2 we're filming right now with Jimmy Tatro, Christian Pierce, Nick Coletti, Nigel Houston's in it.
Nice.
He's a guest man.
How have you been able?
Man.
How do you find splitting your time between that kind of shit, man?
It actually happened at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because I have so much time on my hands now.
Now that you wrap the album.
Yeah. And it's like right now, it's like the hard part was finishing it. And now we're like getting all the contracts signed and figuring out releases and music videos. That's the easy part. So it's like, I feel like now I can do other shit. If I have time to play video games, I can film. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. That's
so
fair.
it's like, we're doing it and it's really fucking funny and it's way longer. And, yeah, I have a lot of parts in it, so I feel like I'll be kind of a main character. So check that out. Shred Collective, we're concentrating on a lot more clothing now. Going to bring music back in a little bit, concentrating on clothes though. So shredcollective.com. You know, find some cool clothes. It's not my merch, but it's some really cool shit that I wear.
Right.
Trippy Burger too, and Zoomies. Shreds and Zoomies now too.
Nice.
But yeah, we're working on getting to more stores worldwide.
Dude, that Zoomies thing is huge.
Yeah, it's great. We're so lucky to have this buyer named Trevor. Shout out Trevor. If we didn't have him, there would not be any possibility with Zoomies.
It's wild, man. A buddy of mine, his clothing line just got in Zoomies, and it seems like it's changed his life almost. Like,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
And you can always tell with Zoomies and shit like that, it's instant gratification because if you work really hard, like I can tell you right now, when I was in charge of everything, I did maybe 2 shirts with them every other month, and it wasn't, you know, a whole lot of money. It was just kind of like we did it. But now that I got Daniel on that and my brother on Shred, it's like the orders are getting bigger. It's going to more stores, and it's just a good feeling because you're like, wow, like clothing brands are kind of the thing where you start it and go hard, and then it kind of just snowballs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's cool. So check out all the new shit. Be sure to check out Sneak's music.
yeah, shout out to Sneak, man. And if you haven't listened to his episode on this show, you got to go listen to that.
Oh, it's great. I listened to it in an airport. I was fucking laughing. It was good shit. He'll say shit, and I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, also look out for his new music. He's dropping it steadily. Space Lace's new EP is out, and he's the best producer of all time.
He's incredible.
He's great. Dead Mouse and I have been playing PUBG, and we will continue. And look for the album on Mousetrap, September 28th. And music videos, and love, and don't be afraid to open up to your friends.
That's perfect. We usually end just by asking a really simple question. You don't have to think about it very hard. First thing that pops into your mind.
Okay.
Just a time in your life, and this could be from a long time ago or very recently, when music really had a deep effect on you in a moment. So it could be like, you know, made you cry or gave you goosebumps or something you heard on the radio. Doesn't have to be significant, just the first thing that pops into your mind.
God, I know I sound like a broken record, but my album, man.
Yeah.
Like being able to make something and having it solve your problems. I made, when I was in India, standout example right here, I made this song called Made For You. That's on the album, and it's got my vocals in it, and I wasn't trying to be anybody else. It was so raw because I was like, I went to India in the middle of like just a fucked up breakup, and like this bitch fucked me over, and it was just so gnarly, and I was dealing with so much other shit, and I was just like, why am I fucking doing this? I'm so lost right now. This is so trash. And so in my hotel in India, I wrote the lyrics to this song, and then I ended up finishing the whole song on that trip. And it was just like shitty microphone, and I never redid the vocals because the shittiness of it sounds so real to me that it's just like appropriate. So I feel like that song in particular in India was just like a very standout time where I was like, music fucking helps me. And this is like evidence.
That's a great story, and I really like that it's your own music. Like you've gotten to the point where it's you don't even rely on somebody else. You can do it for yourself now.
And that it was like a mix of that and Corbin, this dude from Minneapolis, amazing artist. His album Mourn too helped me a whole lot. He's just such a sad dude to the point where it's almost pathetic, but not in like a I'm dissing you way. It's just like, holy shit, this guy's so sad. And listening to his stuff really helped that shit too. It's just really sad and fucking honest and real. There's no auto-tune or fucking melodyne. It's just like his voice cracks. He fucking misses a note sometimes, but it's just there, and it's just so raw. And I feel like that too is just like so
sometimes
good.
That's the best, man. I mean, you think about like early blues music. That's what all of it was.
You get fucked over, you write a song about it, and that's how you deal.
100%, man. You can hear the pain in their voice.
It's insane. And the last thing, if you're turning to drugs to solve some of your problems, that's totally fine. You shouldn't be ashamed, but you should not make it a full-time thing. You should find something else that you can turn to, whatever it may be, even if it's not going to make you any money. Maybe getting a cat.
Yeah, why not?
Has helped a lot of people. Drawing a picture, writing.
Better than drugs, for sure.
Exactly. Writing and shit, could helps my mom.
Oh, at first I thought you said writing in shit.
Yeah, taking a piece of shit and writing on the walls, shit graffiti, a little turd marker.
Helped me.
But search, keep looking for something that's going to help you, because drugs will kill you. Whatever helps.
Yeah.
Don't overdo it.
That's an amazing way to end it, man. This has been awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
for sitting down and doing it, dude.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, my friend.
Fun.
I will talk to you later.
Peace out, dog.
Peace. All right, that's the show. Shout out to Getter. Great to talk to you, man. Do not forget Visceral, the album, out September 28th. Make sure you go get that. Make sure to follow Getter, keep up with him. All the links are going to be in the description of this episode. My name is Willy Joy. You can keep up with me as well. Hit me up, backtobackpod@gmail.com is the email address, or you can hit me up at Willy Joy or at backtobackpod on all social media. That's it for this one. Whew, big episode. I hope you guys had fun. Stay locked. Have a great week. Much love to everybody out there. For Back to Back, this is Willy Joy. Peace.